Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to our Macrame Keychain video. Something a little different, really fun. And this is a beginner pattern, and has the goal in mind of teaching you one particular style of knot that is used in more advanced patterns. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a keychain that uses a sequence of double half hitch knots that change direction. This is just a few of the samples that I've got to show you. And I'll of course show a much better view on the mat here coming up. But what's interesting and fun about this is that you can really master this one style of knot that is really key to a more advanced macrame. And it'll help you figure out patterns too. Sometimes in patterns they show holding cords, knotting cords, working cords, things like that. And so I'm going to try to stick with the conventions that from where I learned to show you how to do those. And then I also have done a PDF for this particular design, and that PDF just walks you through the structure of this particular keychain, and I'll put a link to that in the description. And if you're not already a member of our Facebook group or haven't found our blog yet, I just always like to introduce that really quick. So blog.johnbead.com, that's a great place to go and see all of our content, including files you can download, including the pattern for this video and future patterns for other types of videos like this. So check that out. And I'm going to switch now to the camera that shows my mat so you can see a very good view of this keychain and introduce a little bit more about the project and materials. Thanks again for tuning in. Here are the keychains that I was holding up earlier in the intro. A nice up-close view of them, a little clearer image to see. And what these are the same technique done with a few different beads, using the same size cord primarily. There's slight variation I've noticed between some of the colors in thickness. So I noticed that with the brown and even this like kind of seafoam color, I was able to get some of the smaller beads, so 6/0 seed beads, and some of the 4mm Rola to fit really nicely on that. But I noticed with some of the other colors, especially with this beautiful turquoise, that I had a little easier time because it's a little thicker, working with a size up on the Rola. So I'm going to introduce all of that along with showing you up close again the materials that I've used. But today's video, we're just going to go over this design. And the reason I wanted to show this design specifically is because it's one that I came up with because it shows repetition of a certain type of knot that was new to me when I got started with macrame just recently. If you stick around till the end of the video, I'm going to show you the project that inspired it all, which is a beautiful pattern that John Bead purchased from Marta Jewelry. And she's a macrame expert, and she's based in Kyiv, Ukraine. And her work is amazing. I've been following it for so long, and it inspired all of this. So I just wanted to say thank you to her for starting this new obsession for me. I am really enjoying it, and I'm really proud of these keychains because they're just super fun, and they're a great beginner way to get a handle on what is a double half hitch knot. And so that's the video focus for today. So anyone who's not super familiar with that knot, I'm hoping that after this video and this project you will be, and then you might want to tackle the more advanced pattern that we have for you coming up in our next video. So what's here on the mat is cord that is 1mm thick, and it is lots of different colors. It's cotton waxed cord. So let me just show you a few of the colors that I have in front of me. This one is the one I used here. There's a brown color that I used here. There's also a mauve that's a little bit different from the brown. That's one you should check out. It's very, very pretty. There's a seafoam green, and it's a gorgeous color. Look at that. Super pretty. This red I haven't used yet. I was thinking I might use this one today because I don't have this one out, in a color yet. There is a green, which I think I have one more of those to show you. This beautiful green. This isn't a comprehensive of all the colors available from John Bead. This is just the ones that I happen to have. There's a few others that I don't, that you should check out. And of course, links to everything I'm showing you. Look at this chartreuse, it's so pretty. Links to all of these in the description. So, but these are the colors that I have out and that I've been working with. It looks like, I have one other one to show you. Yeah, here's actually two more. Here's the mauve. I just wanted to show that in case anybody's trying to decide between the brown and the mauve. One thing I would highlight is that the mauve is a little lighter. So, you know, if you're trying to decide between those two, there's the difference there. And I also think that you can use just a regular, like we have white and black, and I believe there's also like some pinks that I don't have here. So just definitely check out the links and see what you find. All of these colors will do great, and they come in different spool sizes. So depending on how much you think you'll need. The amount on here is 5 yards, and this is plenty to make this keychain. You'll have leftovers. All right, so I want to talk really quick about the finding that I'm using. So I did 2 different things. The first idea I had was to work with these beautiful wooden rounds. And these are a very versatile little wooden bead. They have a hole that runs like straight through. So I was able to get a head pin in there. See the little end of the head pin there? And I was able to just decorate the top with the head pin and then just put a regular clasp on it. So that makes a really cool purse charm keychain. But the beads that it comes with could also be cool on the top. And you can use these wooden beads that it comes with in other macrame designs. I do have one example I can show you. And it's not the one I'm teaching today, but if everyone wants to see a video of it, it's not perfect because I was still learning when I made this, but this bead could become one of those. See, inside a design like that. So there's just a lot of places where you can take these ideas, and these knots are the same knots we're going to learn today. So it's just a different configuration, something that I've been playing with. And one other finding, you saw it there, and here's another one. There is in the must-have findings line a swivel clip. And so this one comes in silver. Let me show the silver again. There's the silver one. And then here is the gold. I loved the gold with the seafoam. I mean, this one is beautiful. Look how that came out. So I'm loving these. I just can't stop making them. They're super fun. So if you wanted a, you know, a kind of like a shortcut, speedier way to get to the end as far as like finishing the top, this will be a quicker start. So depending which one you like, they're both really fun and really easy to do. And then, so let me show you beads really quick, and then we're just going to dive into the knotting. So for beads, you have lots and lots and lots of options. I would say get your cord and just test it and see what fits. So, and forgive me, some of these I have in bulk bags, but I have a lot of Preciosa size 320. And what the 320 bead is it's the 2 that are used here in the centers. If you want to look really close here, I've got a chartreuse there, and I've got the, this one is like a yellow. It's a, what color is that? That one is this one. It's travertine on yellow. Isn't that cool? And it looks like for this one looks like I used this one here. I'm getting down to the bottom of that bag. I must have really liked this color. Light green. Yeah. Isn't that pretty? That's so cool. So anyway, I went crazy and I was loving this. So that's what I did there. And then for the edge of the beads here, I would recommend going with Rola because Rola is a little bit easier to get the cord through. See how the hole diameters on those are so much more forgiving. And so there's a travertine on chalk. And that's the one you're seeing in this design here. It's really versatile. That one I would go for. The ones that I used here, again, that's the yellow in there, right? But on the edge, it's actually a Miyuki 60. Color is 4514. And I was able to get that to work on the brown. But then when I tried to get Miyuki to fit on some of the other thicknesses, even though it's all 1 millimeter, I just had to test it case by case because it's a natural product. And so what you're going to see is a little bit of variation, and you just want to see how those ends are behaving when you do your knotting. So just try it out and see what happens. So that's those beads right there. And then if you love these are really cool. Now I don't have my packaging in order for these, but what I do have are the beads themselves to show you. So in the case of this one, let's start with this one. There are 3 different sizes of Czech Rola. Czech Rola had a really big size. This one is like, it's 7 millimeters, I believe. Pretty close to. And even though I don't have the packages here, in my video description I will put links to all the John Bead product numbers for these so you can find them. That's the largest one. Actually, let me leave that open so you can see. And then also in the Czech Rola family, there's one that's like a size down from that. So this one that I think is around the 5mm size, somewhere between 5 and a little more than 5, a little closer to 7, closer to 8 maybe, I'm not sure. One size down from that are these ones. These are the, let me get you an exact number if it's on here. Let's see, 4mm. Let me grab another one just to show you really quick. I thought it was on the bag there. Let's see, so 4.5 actually. So you see 4.5mm roller beads. That's these, okay? And so those are the ones I have used as my edge beads and my my dangles here. The edge here. These are the next size up, which are like the 6mm ones. I think they're 5mm or something like that, 5 or 6. So you can see those are the center ones, and those are my edge ones. And then switch into this other one here. Because this cord was probably the thickest one that I found in my collection, I actually went a size bigger for that bead. So this is the biggest Rola. And then I used the one that was the center on this one here. This center bead. That one. I used that as the edge here. And there's the size difference. You can see them like right there. It worked out really nicely. I actually used those as the dangles. So it's a much chunkier look. And I mean, there's just nothing you can say like about any of these that isn't amazing. Everything is so cute. No matter what beads you go with, you end up with something that you're gonna really like. And I haven't made one that I was thinking, oh sure, I can give this one away. Like so far, all the ones that I've made, I don't think I can share unless I make another one. And already, so I've shared some of these with friends and family already to let them know what I've been up to and why I'm not returning their phone calls. And they all want one and I haven't sent them one yet. So I'm just saying it's kind of addicting and you might get really into it. So disclaimer has been provided. So let's get started. Let's make our own. Let's make one with this cool red cord because I need to use this one. I haven't got one in that color yet. And I'm going to play for a second, figure out what beads I want to do, and then we'll get started. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the end here. And I'm going to trim it at an angle like this, see? And that'll make it easier for me to get beads on. I may need to do that at all of my ends. And measure approximately 33 to 35 inches of cord. And so I'm going to cut 3 lengths, and each of those is going to be approximately 35 inches long. All right, so now I'm in the step where I'm testing my bead sizes, and I grabbed the smallest one first, just to see what I could get to work. And I'm pretty confident that I tested more than one of these ends. In each of these 3 cords, I've tested the both ends of each one to see if each one comfortably can support stringing on the small Rola, which are the 4.5. And I'm not having a hard time with that, so I feel confident that I can make that part of my design choice. Not sure about the color yet, but I'm still playing. But again, this is a 4.5mm Rola, and that's what I'm going to go with for this design. Now I need to pick my center bead, and I'm thinking that I will go up a size in Rola. So let me see what I've got. I just discovered I have the 6.2, and it was a little find here at the bottom of my box, and I have 7.7. So earlier when I was showing you guys the small, medium, large Rola, let me show you just really quick here. I have the same ones in this size too. So that's the 4, I believe that is the, what was it again? 4.5, right? And then it goes up to 6.2. And then it finishes out at the largest size with 7.7. So these are the ones that I know work with the 1mm cord for sure every time. And it's just kind of a trade-off between, do you go with these 2 or do you go with these 2 in size? And so I've discovered with this cord that I can use the smallest one. So I'm going to find a color in 6.2 that I feel corresponds with my thread here. And so what I've got out right now, I was thinking, gosh, would this be cool? I love this yellow. And so now I'm looking kind of more for something either neutral or blue. Let's find something. All right, I think I got it. So I changed my mind again, and just kind of based on what I have. And so I'm gonna go with these. So this is chalk, travertine on chalk white. It's a 6.2mm, and this one is 4.5mm travertine on red. And so it kind of pulls out. This is more of a rosy red, but it still looks very pretty next to this one. All right, so all my beads are ready. I'm gonna work with the swivel clip today just because it's faster to get started. But yeah, you can use any ring, any little starter ring that you would like. It's gonna work just fine with this design. Take each of the cords we cut. Remember, we cut 3 lengths of 33 to 35 inches. I went with 35. And bring each of the ends together. So here's my first cord. I've brought the ends together, and I'm gonna bring them up through the ring. And then what I usually do is just kind of like pull it through just about that much. And then I just put my hand through the loop and grab that end, pull it through. And this whole time I'm trying to, not lose those ends, keeping them center pointed. So our goal is to have these be the same length at the end. And so I've got my first one. That's called a lark's knot. Let's just lark's knot it on there just like that. Repeat that with the other 2 cords. So here's our second one. Bring the ends together. Okay, bring those up through. Again, I'm just pulling up a loop. And get that through there. So just like that. There's my third one. So you'll have those strands in what is called a lark's knot. Lark's knotted at their midpoint to the component that you're using. Once you've got that already, if you can find a scrap piece of cord, if you don't have a scrap piece, just cut one, or you can even just use like a rubber band or a pin, but find something that we can use to secure it to your board. So for me, I've got, I just have a spare cord here, and I'm going to bring it through my loop. And you don't have to lark's knot it. You could just, run it through, but just for security, I'm putting it on there like that. And now I have, let me show you what I'm working with. It is foam, not foam, but corkboard, I guess you'd call it. And I have a piece of paper over it for reflection because for some reason it's just not really working with the camera very well. So I've been putting this one on here just to make it easier for everyone to see. Hopefully that's working. And then I have a clip. You can use a binder clip or any kind of little clip. Binder clips work great. And then just bring that cord to the top like that. And so let me try to show you a little closer what's going on at the top here. I'm just putting the cord flat, and I'm going to just bend it kind of around the back of the board, just like that, and just take my clip and clip it there. You won't be pulling on this super hard, so don't be too worried about it. We're not going to need to like really, it doesn't need to be super, super, super strong. It'll be okay with just a nice clip on it. Okay, so let's get started. So this is where we're going to start doing the double half hitch knot. And if double half hitch knot is something new to you, don't be worried about, don't be intimidated about it. It is not a super difficult knot to learn. It's pretty easy. And I'm going to experiment with getting a little closer here. I think this might help us out. Yeah, I think that's good. So the way that this design works is the beads are placed. Let me get a bigger one here for you to see a little easier. Maybe this one's easier. The way the beads are placed is that we start by making the point of a diamond right here at the top. And in order to do that, we need to treat these 2 cords here at the center as the ones that are going to come out and over these 2. So in the pattern that I'm going to create a little PDF document, and I'm going to follow the convention that Marta uses in all of her patterns where she marks the cords with a little dot, because I thought that was very handy and helpful. And so I'm going to kind of borrow that, do the same here. If you see the cord marked with green dot, it's the holding cord. So it's the one you're going to knot onto. And if you see it marked with a red dot, it's the working cord. So it's the one you're going to form the loop with, going over and under and pulling through. So our holding cords are these 2 here in the center. And then our working cords are going to be these 4 on either side. So take these 2 centers and then just bring them out like that, and like a diamond. And what we're going to do in each case, we're going to do this 4 times. We're going to take each of these cords, starting with the centers and working out. And we're going to do what's called double half hitch knots onto these cords using these cords. So picking up this cord right here, notice it's already underneath this one. I'm going to bring it up and over this cord, okay? And then just holding the end of it. What you want to do is go under that cord. Again, that's the holding cord. And on the way out, it's going to cross over itself. And then just pull that tightly. And as you pull, you want to just, the hand that you're using to hold the working cord is the hand you want to move. And you can even help that little loop get close to the top, just like that. And as far as like how tight to pull, honestly, I find that pulling too tightly makes this like work out less well than if I'm just a slightly less tension. I'm still pretty tightly pulling on it, but not extreme. But see that loop is pulled right there? And so we're gonna just do that same thing we just did one more time. So we're gonna bring this cord over the working cord, which is this one right here, over it and then under it, right? So over it this way and then under it this way. And as it's coming out and through, notice it's passing over itself here. And again, I'm just moving the hand that's holding the working cord and just kind of steadying the other one with my left hand. And so there's the knot that forms when you do that. And that is a double half hitch knot. And that is all we'll do for this entire thing, except for a few little square knots at the end, optionally. So yeah, let's just do that a bunch of times. I think the whole trick to the macrame thing, and the part that really, where I lost it when I was trying to follow, in my early days trying to follow patterns, is that simple knot, depending on the direction you take it and what cords you do the knot with, you can end up with changing direction. So this is the perfect way to learn that, because this does it over and over again. Starts heading left, heading right, heading left, heading right. And you'll see how that works. And it's super intuitive. Once it clicks, but until it does, just stick with it. Don't give up. So look what we did here so far. We treated this as the holding cord. It was the one that was in the center, right? We pulled it over. And then we took the first of those 2 cords that were just to the left of it, and we started with this one, and we made a double half hitch knot. We're just going to do the same thing again, but this time we're going to take this cord as the working cord. Already it is underneath this one, which is our holding cord. We're just going to take this and go up and over. Okay, so it's going over, and then it's going to head under. So it is going under this cord here. Okay, and on the way out, meaning as we pull it tightly, it's crossing over itself here, making a loop, just like that. You can see it there. And then again, I'm going to bring it right up to here. And the way you do that is you just hold your holding cord and pull your working cord. And as you do that, see this little loop? Sorry if that's loud. Someone decided it was motorcycle time outside. Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to pull this tightly. And as you do that, this little loop that we just made, what it's going to do is it's going to nestle itself next to the former knot you made. The first knot we made just went right up to the top of the component, but this one's not going to do that. It's going to leave a little tiny space right here, and that's okay. Just go ahead and go with it. Repeat that one more time. So bring the cord over, under, and as you're pulling it out, make sure it is crossing over itself on the way up. Pull tightly. And there you go. And see how cool that looks? That is side 1 of the little diamond side that we're trying to create here. So we just created that part right there. And we're going to do the same thing now. What I like to do is isolate the cords that I've already worked with that are on the left, because you don't need those anymore. And those are my 2 working cords, which are the one exiting out of knot number 1 right there. Okay, this one. The one exiting out of knot number 2, which is this one. And our holding cord, which is this one. It now finds itself all the way on the left, right? Just push those over there. We're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to bring this down so it's nice and close. Here's our holding cord. And it's going over these 2. And we're going to start with the one that's closest to the center. We're going to bring it up and over this cord. And then it's going to go under that holding cord. So this is the holding cord here. We went over it, and now we're going to go under it. And we're going to pull tight. And again, the holding cord, you want to just hold it, right? And with the working cord, which is now in our left hand, we're just going to pull. And at this part, you're going to have one little loop form. And if you'd like to help it sit close to the top so that it matches where the other knot was positioned, the one that it corresponds to on the left, you can do that. This is the working cord here. And this is the holding cord that we have passing over here. And so I need to do the same knot one more time. I need to bring it over and then under it. And on the way out, it's going over itself. And then when you pull tight, you should get another one of those little knots. And so I'm going to do the same thing again and take this holding cord here, bring it over. This is the new working cord. Let's see, I bring that up and over. Okay. And then it's going to go under it again. And then over itself right here. There's loop 1. Do that same thing again, bring it over. And then bring it underneath. On the way out, it's passing over itself. And pull tight. Okay. So what do we have here? We have the 2 working cords on either side that are coming out of the knots, and they're kind of headed now. They're headed down now, and the holding cords that used to be the center have become our far left and far right, and they're just coming out of these knots here. So there's the finished knot in that case. It's pretty good, right? And so from here, we need to get a bead, and I'm going to take and isolate the 2 center cords, which used to be our working cords. They're going to become the cords that hold our bead. And in my case, this is a 6.2 millimeter Rola bead, and I'm able to get it to work just enough to get 2 cords through it. And I'm just going to slide that up to meet the center. All right, so we've got our bead that's on those with what is now the 2 center cords, and we're going to just leave those alone for now, and we're going to work with the 2 cords on either side here, just for this first part. So the holding cord is going to stay the same. The holding cord is still going to be the one that was the holding cord before. It was the ones that came down the center, and we knotted over them. But the difference we're going to do next is that we're going to just change the direction. Because remember, we brought them out. Well, now we're bringing them this way across. And that becomes important because it changes the direction of our knot. And if this part is kind of seems a little bit hard to get your head around, don't worry, you're not alone. That's me for like the first 5 times I tried figuring out what it means when you change direction. So before, when we were headed this way, right, we were bringing the working cord like up in this direction, under and through, right? But now we want to go that way. We were headed that way before, but now we're headed this way. So our knot with our working cord, which this is going to be our first working cord, and again, this is still the holding cord, but because it's going this way, our knot needs to go that way. So just follow the video step by step for now. I promise it'll click. It'll take a couple of times. If this is not already clicking for you, it just takes a few times trying it. And then it'll make sense and it will be intuitive for you after a short period of time. But for now, just, you know, follow step by step. We're going to just go through the directions each time on both sides. So bring the holding cord, which is this one, bring it over this way, right? And take this first cord here. This is the working cord now. And bring it up and over like that. Okay, it's going to form a loop that looks just like that. And bring it under the holding cord right here. It's under this one. And then, you know, on the same thing on the way out, it's going over itself. And this little loop will form right here. So you can help it sit close to the last one. Just like that. Repeat that one more time to finish the double half hitch knot. So bring that over. Okay. And then you're going to bring it under. And then just, again, I'm holding the holding cord and I'm doing most of the motion with my hand that is holding the working cord. So you'll get that. And see how it's already starting to hug the bead? It's kind of perfect. So let's do the same thing, but on this side. Bringing this one, the holding cord's coming out of the knots, right? Bringing it over like that. And then taking this first cord and bringing it up and over like that. Forming a loop. And then we're going to go under and pull. And as you do that, again, you just want to help that loop go right up next to this one right here before it. And then just repeat that one more time. So form a loop that goes over the holding cord. And then you go under it on the way up. It goes over itself. And that finishes the double half hitch knot on that side. So you see what we just did there? We started to hug the bead and we're starting to bring those holding cords in. And now to finish that job that we've started and secure the bead, double check which side is which. Just sometimes it crosses each other in the bead. Make sure you're working with right and left, left and right. And the one way to do that is to just go like this. See, hold them apart like that. And now I know for sure I've got this side going this way, and that's the one I want to work with next. Bring the holding cord over it. And remember the holding cord's coming out of our knot right there. Bring it over. And then we're going to do the same thing with this cord that we did with that one. We're going to bring it over the holding cord, back under it. And then on the way out, of course, it's crossing over itself. And on this one, I'm going to help that first loop go where I want it to. If it tilts the bead, don't worry. The other side will fix it. Again, we're going to finish that double half hitch knot by going over, under, and through. Just pull tight. There we go. Okay, so one side is done. Here's the holding cord on the right-hand side. And we want to just isolate these over here. This is our holding cord coming out of those knots there. Bring it over this one right here, which is our working cord coming out of the bead. And then take this side and cross it over right here. And go under. Pull tight. Help that loop if you need to, just by nudging it, just like that. And then do that one more time. And so that's what you'll get. Working cords coming out of those knots there. And now you have these two cords becoming the center. And each of these working cords, they're just kind of flying off here to the side, right? So these two center cords right here. What I did, because I am right-handed and because I started on this side, we have a slight little sway here in this direction. Notice it? It's very subtle. But I found that whatever side, for you it might be different. For you maybe it's leaning to the other side, but whatever side you think it's leaning to, have that be the holding cord side. Because now one of these here in the center is going to need to become the holding cord, and the other will need to become the knotting cord. And then there's one other possibility I just want to share really quick, because I know someone else will have the same issue. If you really feel like there's a lot of space there, and the amount of space I've got there, I think I would live with and keep going. But if you really want to fix it and you think it just wasn't tight enough, take a pin and you can get those knots to loosen up so you can try again. And let me just show you, just so someone can see like, hey, this is possible. I can absolutely do this. How easy it is to do that. And that brings you right back to where you started with that knot. So for example, let me zoom out a little bit. Now I'm back to where I started, where I've got this one as my working cord coming out of the bead. And I've got this cord as my holding cord coming over it, right? And these cords we just want to ignore for now. If you really want this part to be tight, that connection right there, you got to pull this all the way over like that. And it's at this point where that has to happen. So then you want to take your over, under cord here. This is the working cord, crosses over itself on the way up. So right here is the chance to fix that. And you only get this spot to do it. So if you want to pull extra tight there, a little tighter than I normally would, but you can do that. And then when you finish the second half of the double half hitch knot, pull that tight. And you'll just really need to pull that second one to get it to work. Help it out. You can use your fingernails to kind of nudge them in place. And let's zoom in on this, get you a better view. So there, see how that it got a lot better. So you can, if that's bothering you, make that as tight as you'd like to. But there's another way to kind of fix it, because even still, you can see it's kind of not perfect. When you get to this spot and you've got these two center cords, I've been going with left over right. Whichever you choose now, stick with it. Let me show you why. Do you see how this cord looks like it's traveling? And the one coming out here always looks like it's the one crossing over. Whichever side you choose to do the double half hitch knot with as the holding cord is going to be the one that crosses over. It looks like it's kind of 3D there. And let me show you how that's done. Bring this cord, this is the one on the left for me, bring it over the one on the right, okay, and then use the one on the right to perform the double half hitch knot. So bring it over, under, over itself on the way up. And then see what it does is it puts that loop right there like that. Do it one more time. And then it creates that little knot. See how cool that is? And that's pretty much step one for doing the top part. So now we're gonna go back the other direction. And from here on out, we're really just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. The only difference is we're gonna do a couple of things to create some space on the side. And in order to do that, we're gonna put some beads on. But step one right now, each of these cords now is gonna become a holding cord. So it's going to go this way, right? And we're going to start by bringing each of these down as knotting cords, as working cords. So how we do that, and it doesn't matter which side you start with, you can start right or left. Bring that second cord under the first one, so the holding cord. So this cord here is going underneath that one. And then we're going to do the knot in this direction. Because remember, we're heading this way now. We're going to go diamond out. So it's going to go over like that, under, and then just pull tight. You see that first loop just kind of pops in place right there. Do that again, over, under, and back over itself on the way out. And you get that prettiness right there. So setting that aside, I'm going to do the same thing with these two cords. Bring this one over that one, or you could say bringing this one under that one, just like that. This is going to become the working cord. This one is the holding cord still. bring it up and over, and then under it and through. And this one, you want to help the loop sit right against the former right there, and repeat that. Okay, so now you have that, which is the essentially the first part of this part. Next, we need beads, and we're going to put beads on these cords. So I'm going to zoom out. Hang on one sec. Try to do that without making y'all seasick. There we go. Okay, so these two cords here, we want to put beads on there. Bead on one side, slide it down. Slide it down. Ooh, I am loving that red. Look how pretty that is. That's gorgeous. Okay, not getting distracted. All right, bring these down to the center. Okay. This is still holding cord. Each of these cords that has the bead is going to be working cord. So you want to bring holding cord over your working cord. And what I like to do is just kind of bring that all to meet, just like that. And then I will take this cord right here and have it go over, under, and through. Bring that right up to meet, just like that. And then do it again, over, under, and through. Side one is done. And it doesn't matter which side you do first. You can do left or right. But I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to bring holding cord over, working cord, just like that. Over, under it, and through. I'm going to help out that first one just to be kind of right where I want it. And do it again, over, under, through. And there you go. So that is all there is to it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see closer what we did. And so we've essentially created one full repeat. So here's another one of my big beads. And I'm going to bring the big bead to sit in the diamond by putting it on these two cords here in the center. So just string that on. Bring that up. And you know, if you want to, it's not required. I find that I don't need it, but if you want to, you can place a pin like that, just to hold it. Some people really love working with a pin. I keep going back and forth. I do sometimes, and sometimes I don't. The work seems to look beautiful no matter what I do. And again, the holding cords are going to stay the same. So our holding cords are still going to be these, and we're going to change direction now by going that way, right? Bringing it over. So our first working cord is going to be this one, which is actually the same working cord we had from just a moment ago, but it's going to go looping this way now, right? So let's bring it over, under, through. And you see how it's doing that little curve around the bead again? You want to just kind of nudge it, that first one, if it's important to you to have no gap showing there. So I just did that little nudge. Do it again. Over, under it, and through. So there's that one. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Holding cord is the one coming out of the knots here. Bring it over. This is our working cord. And we want to bring it into, sorry about that, over like that. Under and through. One more time, same thing. It's going over it, under it, and up through. And so now we've got those two cords there, which were the working ones. Holding cords coming down right here. Pick a side, any side. You can do right or left. First, I do need to pull the pin out for this part. And I'm going to use these cords coming out of the bead as my working cords. So bring the holding cord over my working cord. And on this side, I'm going to bring this loop up like that, right? Underneath the holding cord. Just that first one. And pulling tight. It's going to do something like that for you. Repeat the double half hitch knot. So we're going to go over, under, and through. The goal being just to get that knot to sit below our bead. And it made it kind of cattywampus in that direction. To fix it, we got to just do the other side. And on this side, the holding cord again is the one coming out of the knot, so we bring it over. The one that is exiting from the bead. So just move the other cords out of the way if you can, just by kind of pushing them this direction. And bring this cord, which is your holding cord, the one coming out of your knot, over it. And then just bring that as tightly as you can, just like that. Just like that, okay? And then take the whole, the working cord, which is the one going under, and make that loop this direction. So bring it like this, over this one. Then you want to go under this one with the cord's end. And on the way out, it goes over itself. And right at this spot, remember before we kind of took it apart, and this is where we kind of want to help it be a little tight. So there's that. Do the same thing again, over, under, and on its way. There you go. And so there's the two holding cords now, just coming right out the center. And these are the working cords hanging out here. So we just need to finish the center again. And once again, I made a decision here above that my cord on the left was going to become holding cord whenever I meet in the middle. And so I'm just going to stick with that throughout the whole thing for the flow of it. And so this cord here is my left cord. It's going to go over the one on the right. Just go crossing over, see? And now I'm going to tune this one as the working cord. So bring it up and over this one, under, and pull. And same thing again, over, under, through, and pull. And there you go. All set. So, and now it just changes direction. Just like before. Let's do one more set of these two side beads together. So bring these two. As the holding cords now, they're going to start heading out in this direction over these cords. So we'll start with this one, this working cord. We'll bring it underneath, right? And then up and over. And then under and pull. Puts that loop just right there. Repeat it. Over, under, and through. And there you go. Same thing on the side. This is the holding cord. This is the new working. It's underneath it. Then you want to bring it up in a loop over. Then go under and pull. Do it one more time. And before you do it, just kind of make sure that one is touching the former one there. Okay. So you'll get that. And so these two working cords have become center-ish, kind of. And our two holding cords are still heading this way. Our two working cords are here. Before we bring those working cords down, we're going to put beads on them. The bead on one side. There's a bead on the other. Let's slide that down. You'll get these two beads here. And it doesn't matter which side you start with, just pick one. Your working cord stays the same. It's coming out of the knot. Bring that. Sorry, holding cord. Holding cord stays the same. Coming out of the knot. Working cord. It's the one we got a bead on, and it's going to go under. Let's bring that under. And you see how we're just going to kind of make it so that that bead is sitting sideways like that. This is the working cord, the one the bead's on. We're going to bring it over the holding cord here, under, and pull. And when you do that, it's going to nudge that first loop right up next to the one we did with the former cord. Repeat it to lock it in. And you've got that bead there. Same thing over here with this side. This is our holding cord because it's coming out of the knot there. Our new working cord has a bead on it. It's going to go under. And we're going to bring it up and over. And then under the holding cord. Over itself. Bring that down. So the loops meet. Repeat one more time. And there it is. Okay. So from here, we need to do the turn again. And that turn is the same thing we did before, where we bring each of these cords in like that. And before we do that, I usually put the bead on the middle, mostly because it helps me identify, because there's a lot, even though we only have 6 strands, there's still a lot going on. But so for these two right here, I would like to get my next bead. So let's bring that on. There we go. Okay. And again, sliding that up. So you get that. Start with these two. Bring them over. See, they're going to cross down like that. First working cord is this one. I'm going to bring it up and over like that. And then take that end of it and go underneath like that. Pull it through and get that loop to set almost in continuity with this one here. And then repeat that one more time. Over, under, and through. Just like that. We'll do the same thing on this side. So our working cord's here, and it's going to go over, under, through. You'll know you got it right because this little loop will want to snuggle right there against the former one. And go one more time. There we go. See, it's starting to curve in. Let's do this side first. So now, moving those two cords out of the way, our new working cords are going to become these two in the center. And our holding cord stays the same. So bring it over. And working with this side on this one. This cord right now we're not working with, just kind of going to get that out of the way there. We're just bringing the one that's on the left-hand side coming out of the bead. It's the working cord, so we're bringing it under the holding cord, which is coming out of the knot. Bring this up and over. Like that. Under it now. And pull. One more time. It goes over, under, and through. So that's locking in the bead on one side, and And then you got the cattywampus thing happening. So take that cord that is exiting from the bead on the other side and just kind of pull it like that. Okay. Holding cords, this one's coming out of the knot, and bring it over it. And then just bring them to meet like that with this one under. And perform the knots with this cord by going up and over, and then under, and then through. This is the only one where we got to kind of work with a little bit of tighter tension just to make sure that the bead is centered as much as we can get it centered anyway. It's a lot more forgiving than it seems in the moment, because when you look at the finished design, it all kind of flows. But see, yeah, worked pretty good. So that working cord is going to push it up here. These are the two working cords here. These two center cords, the holding cords, again, following that same convention, we're going to treat the one on the left as holding by bringing it over the one on the right. Just like that, see? And then make this your working. So over, under, and through. And tighten, over, under, and through. There you go. That is all there is to it. This is the entire design. I'm going to repeat that and to create the two edges. And what you want to do is you want to end with, looks like I ended with a big bead. So let's get ahead to where we used all 5 beads. Well, after you've added your 5th bead, stop when it's at this point. All right, so I worked the same repeats that we've been doing right down to the bottom, and now I have finished with that middle crossover that prioritized the one coming over from the left as your holding cord and the one coming from the right as the working cord. And this is where I have left off. So from here, there is a nice little trick that I learned from the pattern by Marta Jewelry that I'm going to show you a preview of here at the end. But from her pattern, I borrowed this little step, which brings these ends together. There's 2 ways you can finish it. The easiest way is to do this little square knot. The slightly less easy, but still pretty easy way is to just do a little silk wrap like that. I'm going to show you both. But to get there, we need to bring our ends together because they're kind of, see how we have these like separate ends like sticking out? So what she does, and it's super genius, is she brings over each edge cord as holding cord. And so something that's going to start happening here is each of these cords is going to be changing which is holding and which is knotting. So just stick with me. We're going to start with this one here on the side. Bring it over this way, okay? And then use this one to perform a double half hitch knot right onto it. And it's getting a little short, but just go with it. Just like that. Okay. So you get a knot that sits right underneath the former one. Let me zoom in. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing with this cord. This becomes the working cord, and we're going to knot it onto this holding cord. But before we do that, we're going to bring this working cord down and hold these two together. And holding these two together and bringing this one underneath those, and then doing that knot onto it, we'll lock those two together. And that brings it to the center, which is really nice. There's one. Okay. Now let's do 2. And that's all you got to do. So you want to take each of these cords now that are exiting from here, and then just hold your knot and just pull tight. Just to kind of get this one to settle in there on the edge. So set those 3 aside, and let's do the same thing with the ones on this side. Holding cord is this one. Bring that over. Working cord number 1 is going to be this one. So we'll bring it over, under, and through. So you get the knot starting there. Repeat that. just to finish that knot. And then again, the working cord is going to move down to be this one. Holding cord staying the same, but we're going to join the former working cord and make it part of the holding cord and do the knot over that. So just like that. And that just is a really great way to bring your ends together in a point. And if you want to, you can pull these individually. And now you've got all 4 of these coming right to the center, and you've got these 2 on the edge. So there's a couple of things you can do. You've got this now, right? If you want to, you can do a silk wrap, or if you're wanting to do something just a little quicker to get done faster, you can do a square knot. So let me show you the square knots really quick again. So these are the square knots. So you see what I did is I just took each of the ends, and we'll do that first, and then I'll pick it out and I'll show you the silk wrap. The silk wrap's only harder because you have to do a little extra step with wrapping the cord around. The way I did that here is I just took the longest cord I had on the edge, which for us would be this one, and I wrapped it around and then just brought it down. You can kind of see where I did that there. And then it nestles right there, and we'll finish the ends with some little beads and it'll be finished. So square knot. Let's show the square knot first, and then we will move on and show the other. So what you're going to notice, let me scroll out 1 second here. Okay. What you're going to notice from here is we're going to have some short ones, and they're all going to be in the center, and your long ones are going to be on the edge, which is great because we have some extra cord to work with on the end. These were the holding cords the whole time, so they didn't get consumed as much as the knotted cords. These cords that we did all the knotting with ended up being the same the whole way through. So I just thought that was kind of cool. And so to start a square knot, pick a side, any side. I tend to start with the one on the left. Bring it over all 4 of these cords right here. Bring it over like that. And now take the one on the right and bring it over this one. Bring it under all 4 of the cords. And then bring it up through this loop here. And pull that through. And what you'll get, and what you'll want to do is straighten all this out really nicely. Hold it pretty tight. And then tighten that square knot. And even after you do the square knot, you can, if you want to, pull each of these. Just to make sure that the knot is settling exactly where you might want it, especially on this side over here. Okay. And then, see there's a little hat right there? Let's zoom in. Okay, let's slide that down. Okay. This was the little hat side, and this side doesn't have a little hat. If you've got the side that the hat's on, you want to make the loop with. So in this case, this side, make the loop, goes over the cords. Take this side and bring it over this one and bring it under. Pull that through and tighten. Now our hat is on this side. It's a lot more clear after the first knot. Bring that over like that. Bring this over like that. Under the 4 cords and up through that loop over here. And I finished it off with 1 more. So just like that. And tighten. And there you go. And so you can put a little fabric glue on that if you want to. And then what I did is I strung a bunch of beads. So let's make that zoom out a little bit. I did a really nice embellishment on the bottom with a bunch of the beads that I used as the side beads here. But before I show that, I'm going to stop the camera and I'm going to grab one of my pins, and I'm just going to pick out these square knots just so I can show you the silk wrap in case you really like that. All right, so for this second part, I'm going to remove my work from the board, and we don't need the board anymore. I'm just going to set that aside. And you remember this cord we used to secure it? Go ahead and just keep that. We're going to use that again. So set that there. And then just take a look at what we've got. We've got our beautiful keychain ready to go. We just need to finish the end. And I just showed the square knot. If you like that, go for it. And you should have something like this. But if you want to do the silk wrap, which is the one that looks like that, here's how I learned to do it from watching. I combined a few different sources. This is how Marta finishes her pendant in the other pattern that I'm going to show you here at the end. But this is also something I've seen called a silk wrap in a couple of places. And the way that they finish it is they start with, and let me find, I used a scrap cord, but I'm going to find one that's a different color really quick. Here we go. Just so you can see it apart. It's a little easier to see if I use a different color. So you want to just take a very short scrap of cord and like form a little loop like that. And on the back of your piece, just hold it with the loop side facing up and just hold it like that. And then you want to choose one of the long edge cords and begin wrapping it across the front and around. And notice on the back here that we are encapsulating the little loop I'm holding. Okay. You go around 3, maybe even 4 times if you want to. Make sure you like the way it looks on the front. And then here at the back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this through that loop. Just like that. And then I'm going to hold everything in place. And then take these ends here, pull it down. What that's going to do is it's going to pull through my end. And once it's peeking through, I'm just going to grab the cord. And before I let go of it, because once you let go of it, you're going to lose track of which one it is here. Go ahead and pull tightly while holding the little wrap that you did. Don't let go of the wrap until you're happy with how it looks. So after that, you might have to find your end again. That's our little scrap cord. Just going to move that. Okay. And so that's how I did the silk wrap ending, if you like that one more. So let's finish the beads on the end. I'm going to grab my beads. And so I've got my beads ready. And just decide how many you want. There's a lot of variation you can go with. I really thought 3 looked cute, so I think I'm going to do that now. But on some of them I went a little crazy. Like on this one I put like, I think there were 6 on here. That one looks really cool. And then of course this one has even more. Nope, this one still has 6. They're just bigger, so it's a little deceiving. But yeah, so you can make it really, really different, or you can stick with just 3. That's what I did here. And so I'm going to go with 3. So let's put 3 beads. And it doesn't matter now which strand you want to start with. Just pick a strand, any strand. If you've got an end that is really hard to feed through, especially after we were working with, you know, so many feeds and passes, you can trim them just a little bit. Trim them on an angle like that. You can get a nice little angle there. I'm going to zoom in because I want to show how to do a really cool knot. Now 2 of your cords are going to be much longer than your other cords. So in this case, I did pick up one of my longer cords first, only just because I want to have the ability to just kind of decide. So my shortest cord right now is this one. And so I know that's the longest I'm going to be able to make my fringe or my like tassel there. And so, and I know I have to put a knot at the end. So I'm going to slide this up to like there. So it's going to be, it doesn't have to be exact, you know, it's going to dance around a lot. It's going to have some different lengths, but that's okay. To do a really cool finishing knot with this cord, I highly recommend trying this. It's really cool. Some people call it the leaf knot. I don't know why it's called that, but it's cute. You want to make a loop like that, and then bring your cord up and through like that. And then take this end and just go up and through one more time. And you can do that one more time even if you want. I've been sticking with just 2. And then just kind of sliding it up, sliding it up. But if you do 3, it makes kind of like almost a barrel, like a little barrel knot. But, and I was able to get it to work on some of them, but it was really inconsistent. Like, let me show you really quickly. Here's where I did 3. And it worked really nicely with a thin cord, but on some of the thicker ones, I was having trouble getting it to flip. And so here's what I'm doing now, which is just 2. But feel free to try going through it 3 times. It's just a little trickier to get it to settle. I wasn't sure if I could do it while filming, so I just went with 2. And 2 is cute. Makes a nice big knot. And then you want to take and just trim that end. And there you go. So there's my first one. That actually ended up being a little longer than I expected. So I might actually end up trimming that again or doing another knot. Let's set it aside for now, see how I feel. Okay, so let's get some more beads. I'm going to do this a couple more times so you can see it. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Again, just looking for my short cord. Just this one here. So I know I want it to be roughly like right about here. So let's go ahead and bring the cord into a loop. We'll go around once. And we'll go around again. Right? So kind of like a surgeon's knot, really. And then just sliding that up. Barrel knot, surgeon's knot, something like that. It's pretty, whatever we want to call it. Oops, sorry. Smash. There we go. Just going to trim that and see how my length looks there. A little closer to what I was going for. I could kind of live with it being all different though. Isn't that cute? So let me just quickly finish these others. There we go. Okay, so I have beads on all of my little fringes. I felt like this one's just a little bit too much of an outlier. So I want to show you how to fix that really quick if that happened to you too. Just go ahead and slide your beads up. And then just do the knot again. Just go over, around. I'm just going to push it up like that. And then trim it. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Let those beads all fall down. There we go. That's good. All right. So there's how to do it in a nutshell. All of these beautiful designs. And don't be afraid to try your own thoughts on it, like with different beads. Try different stitches too. I called it stitches. They're knots, but gosh, they sure do look like a stitch, don't they? They're so pretty. And again, try different findings. So any finding you want. And once again, I'm going to put in the description links to the beads that I've used and the finding that I've used and the improvised findings that I made from these wooden beads, which I thought were super cute. But either way, you're going to get something you love. And I thought this one came out so cute. That's a really nice colorway. Has a nice little warmth to it. Very rosy looking. So if you guys are loving content like this, just let me know. I do have another design here I haven't taught yet. It's kind of a common one. It's one that I think I've seen out there as far as like the way that this was done. And you can see where I got the idea to put beads on it because there's these little extra spaces. Anyway, if you like that, I'll do another video. And I made one more really cute one and I couldn't resist sharing this one too. It uses some really neat beads they're new to John Bead. We have some colorful wooden beads. There's a whole new wooden bead collection. But the ones I got my inspiration from are here. It actually is a 2-strand bundle, but I just have the one to show you. And it is the one that I got these little beads off of and these. So these 2 little designs are also possibilities that I could explore if I get lots of more macrame comments. Then I will do another video and show this one. This one was really fun. It's a little lark's head knots on the side. See those little, some people call them half hitch. I'm not even sure what to call them anymore. Lots of different names, but this one was really easy and quick too. And very similar to what we just did, just a few variations. Oh, and I promised I would show you a sneak preview at the end of our next video. the one that I have ready to go actually already. I filmed it first, and it was actually the filming of that video that inspired me to do this one, because I felt like we needed a beginner knotting. So that's what this was. The inspiration for that, let me show you really quick. This is a design by Marta Jewelry, and I'm hoping that my samples do it justice. Her stitching and her knotting are tops, guys. They're so pretty. But this was her rustic lace design, and it came out so beautiful. Look at that. I was really proud of the result when I worked on this one. It took me a little while to get it though, and so the video is already available. You can take a look at it, and it works with smaller cord. This is again the same cord that I was using in this video. It's the 1mm knotting cord, and it's 5 yards is perfect, the length you need to make this. So it actually works out really, really serendipitously. But I want to show you that you can also make this design with our tiny micro cord. And forgive me for the bead sizes. I want to make this with 11.0, but I did a kind of mix of 8.0 and a 6mm crystal just to start. I was kind of playing with it. I know now that I kind of need to size that down to make it have more symmetry, but this pattern works with tiny, tiny micro cord. This is the Good Broad waxed poly that I'm showing here. And look how beautiful. Look at the way this, I'm really proud of how this came out, this little bottom part. So gorgeous. And I can't believe that I did that. So this is following Marta's pattern. I have a video finished that walks you step by step through every single knot, like knot by knot, and I don't skip a knot because this is a more elaborate design, and it required a little bit more you know, stick to itness for me to finish, especially because there's a lot of repeating, like do this on this side and repeat it on this side kind of stuff. And so the video is 2 hours 40 minutes long, but I provided timestamps, so if you're wanting to jump ahead, you totally understand part of it and want to see something else more than once, you can. I show a lot of other examples in the video. For example, knotting cord, this is 0.8mm knotting cord that you can try. So yeah, sky is the limit on that one. And if you're ready to check that out, I encourage you to do so because it is very fun. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, weekend, day, and we'll see you in our next video.